Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 genetically modified overkill run. Hope you're all doing well. So, of course, we want to try out more Beastmaster combos, but because of the way the character is structured currently, where you pick a pet at the beginning of the run, there's not a lot of combinations that actually work in the current iteration of the game for GMO. One of them that does, and that will be extremely synergistic and I think extremely powerful, is the bull. The bull and the Beastmaster both cannot have weapons, so although we don't get to pick our pet at the beginning of the game, we can still kill everything here, and we will be able to get a bunch of pets, which are already a really good option for the bull to have, because they just give you a lot more damage that doesn't involve taking damage. So all of the Beastmaster stats and bull stats scale with the same types of stats, so when we explode, it's going to do lots of damage, and our pets will do lots of damage. We should be offered lots of them, so great combination here. I'm going to roll and roll again, looking for harvesting. We'll pick up some harvesting, and of course, as you can see, we don't have any weapons because neither of these characters can get weapons. Just to remind you how these characters work, the Beastmaster gets extra movement speed for every pet we have, which is also really good for the bull, and has extra luck, and our pets will scale with all of the damage types, including engineering. The bull gives us a bunch of defensive stats, and again, we can't use weapons, but we explode whenever we take damage, and those explosions also scale with all of the damage types, though not including engineering in this case. We never want weird ghosts on this character. I think I'm going to ban mostly level 1 items here. I'm looking for dynamite to increase our explosion damage. I'm also looking for rats, which are going to be really powerful on this character. We get the extra HP that we start with and everything. Do I want to just ban these two? I think I'll leave them in the pool. The percent damage is useful, but I feel like there are stronger items we could roll early on, so we'll definitely do that. We'll buy the coupon, and we'll buy the plant. Even though it costs me elemental damage, which is painful for this character, Lost Duck is really good here, and then I'll do a reroll, lock another coupon, really nice to see that, and we'll lock Mushroom. Normally on the bull, we would always want to ban fresh meat. Because we're the Beastmaster, so we'll also have pets, we will be able to use lifesteal on this character somewhat. The bull normally has no use for lifesteal at all, because your explosions don't proc it. I think I will leave fresh meat in the pool. We won't have enough money to buy all of these and then ban the fresh meat for a free reroll, which is something that I am interested in doing as well. So I could see myself buying that later. Maybe I should have just banned it, though. It is difficult to let the loot worm pick up materials when you're playing this character. Obviously, we always are going... Any materials that we drop from enemies, we're going to be right on top of, so we're always going to pick them up. Hopefully it kills that tree for us, though. That was nice. Having the loot worm to hunt down trees is a real boost for the bull, which can often struggle to kill trees, especially in the early game. We missed twice on harvesting, so I'll just take some regen, then we'll grab harvesting here. Take another coupon. 2 early coupons is really good. We'll buy a Lost Duck, lock the helmet, more armor, of course, critical for this character, and then we'll do a reroll. I don't think I want the Terrified Onion ever, so I'm going to go ahead and ban that, and then we'll lock Charcoal, because it scales all of our damage types. The great thing about this combo is there's so many level 1 items that we're interested in picking up as well. We want dynamite, we want rats, of course, and just the normally strong level 1 items. So banning all of these level 1 items is going to make it much more powerful for our character. I'm not sure why the loot worm didn't go after the tree right away there. Any chance we kill this curse alien? Nice, we got it. Here I am going to reroll, and range is a completely dead stat on this character, so too bad that that showed up. We'll go ahead and pick the 3 level 1 items. I'll take the Dock Moth. That can be pretty useful for the bull, again, to help us heal. This character has high regeneration, and how fast you clear the wave is mostly a function of how healthy you are on this character. So an item like Dock Moth that can help us get back to higher health very quickly is very powerful. I'm going to lock these 2, and we'll ban Peaceful Bee. This, although I don't think that dodge is bad on the bull. I think it's a totally reasonable stat to buy. Even though you want to take damage, you could just run into groups of enemies and you'll still take a hit. Peaceful Bee costs us both a melee and a ranged damage, which is just too much damage loss for this character that scales with all the damage types. So nice to just get to ignore the tree and let the loot worm run after it. This cursed lamprey is a devastating spawn for us. You see how much damage it did to us? Wow. Luckily, we're playing a character with a lot of defenses, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but there's plenty of runs where that cursed lamprey spawning would have cost us like 100 material this run. I'll definitely take Toxic Sludge. We want as much of all of the damage types as we can get. And then here I'm going to roll. I'm looking for Harvesting, because I want to get that up over 20. We'll take 2 armor and buy out this entire shop, though I'll lock the small fish. Obviously, losing attack speed is not a problem for the bull or the Beastmaster. None of our effects scale with attack speed. Actually, range and attack speed are both completely useless stats for this character. We'll take plant here, we'll lock dynamite, and the Beastmaster's pets do scale with engineering. We don't currently have a damaging pet, but let's buy the book, because just increasing our overall stats I think is good. And there are definitely some engineering items that we would want. It's also only 13 materials, so it's very cheap. Our goal here is just going to be to get as many raw stats as we can to power up our pets and our explosions as much as possible. So, lots of cursed enemies are definitely dangerous for the bull. You need to be way ahead of the level curve, of the sort of expected damage curve, to be able to easily survive all of these cursed enemies. So that's definitely something that we need to be aware of. It can put a little more pressure on the character. Let's roll here and roll again. I'll roll one more time, and do I want 3 elemental damage? I think I'm just going to take 6 maximum health. Increasing our maximum health is really important as well. We'll buy these items. Mastery is plus 3 damage, because we scale with all of these damage types. So we're losing 3 ranged and gaining 6 melee. For a net of plus 3 damage. I think for 78, that's fine. This is a fairly cheap way to get plus 3. And then I'll buy the whistle. We'll lock the scared sausage. Jelly, of course, we're going to ban, because it will never give us any stats, since we can't have any weapons. Still waiting for a rat or another pet to show up, but we've been offered such good items that rolling for the pet specifically just doesn't make any sense. Something you have to be really careful of on Abyssal Terrors with the bull is that the bull's explosions count as ranged damage for the purpose of killing things like these pufferfish. So the pufferfish will explode into projectiles when you damage them as the bull. By the way, I don't think that should be the case. I feel like that needs to be fixed, because it makes this character unreasonably more difficult to play on this map, and I think is against the spirit of the ranged damage explosions, or the penalties to ranged weapons that the Abyssal map has. I'll take 6% movement speed. Landmines, we do have a little bit of engineering. We have some explosion damage. Incendiary turret and landmines can both help us clear the wave without having to take damage to do it. I'll definitely pick up the incendiary turret. I think the landmines are just too little value, so I'm just going to go ahead and ban them and take a free reroll here. I'll buy the snowball. We're going to be boosting our elemental damage, and then similar to the mastery, fuel tank here is 70 for plus 3 damage, because we're going to have the snowball. Without snowball, I probably wouldn't buy it, but since we rolled into the snowball, it's actually really good. And in fact, this is going to be one of the better snowballs that we can get, because it'll right away give us plus 2 damage, and give us the opportunity to buy an item we wouldn't buy normally. And then, obviously, will continue, hopefully, to give us value over the game, though Snowball sometimes fails to do that. I do need more healing here, so I've been not paying that much attention to my health total, but now we need to start, because we're in the later stages of the run. We need to start paying attention to our health and making sure that we stack enemies up and use only one hit to our character to kill as many enemies as possible. Otherwise, you can get too far behind in terms of your HP and stop being able to efficiently clear waves when you're playing the bull. Killing the walrus there. And we made 200 materials. Not amazing. The blood leech, we do want as much regeneration as we can get. Also, as I talked about, the lifesteal isn't completely useless for this character. It's not that exciting, but I think it's worth buying. We'll take the plant here. We'll definitely take 3 armor. And then, do I want regen? I could take... I could roll for melee damage, which is worth more than elemental damage. I could also roll for armor. I would take armor, luck, and I think that's it over regeneration. Probably melee damage, but given that there's only a couple hits that I would take over regen, I'm just going to take the regeneration. Here, we'll take Snowball, Fuel Tank, and Boiling Water, and the Snowball will have immediately given us 2 elemental damage, which is great. Alright, the Ratzilla is awesome. It's going to scale with all of the damage that, as we discussed. Ugly Tooth, I think I don't really care about the Ugly Tooth. So I'm just going to go ahead and ban that. I'm going to ban Compass as well. I really want to start using my bans a little more, and then we'll buy another Scared Sausage and a tree. With all of the elemental damage, we've ended up with more elemental damage than I think would be typical for this run. We can actually make really good use of Scared Sausage, especially once we get a couple more pets who can apply the burning damage. Of course, our explosions we usually want to just be one-shotting, so we're enemies with those. So we're not that likely to get too much value off Scared Sausage from our actual bull explosions. But once we have a couple pets running around, they'll be able to set enemies on fire. We are reaching kind of the challenging mid-game for the bull, where you're not making that much money, because you have to wait a lot of the time for more enemies to spawn, and because this character needs to progress like its offensive and defensive stats, you can often end up not able to easily buy a bunch of economy. I'll take 12% damage here, and then we'll buy out this whole shop. Roll again. Alright, we'll take an ice cube and a sad tomato. I'll pick up another baby elephant, and I do want more maximum health, but losing consumable heal is extremely bad on the bull. So I'm just going to go ahead and ban Alien Worm here and roll, and we'll take a little muscly dude. That's exactly the type of item that we want. We need some max HP, and we need a little more damage. Just going to let my rat finish off that hatcher, because it's going to keep chewing away at it. And with double Scared Sausage, it's going to light it on fire as well. Explosion size, of course, would be incredible at this point. A really strong economy item like a tractor would be really valuable. There's a lot of things that we could buy that would be extremely helpful, but obviously the run is going very well. We've got our pet as well, which can help chew on the more difficult enemies in the level, which is always the challenge when you're playing the bull, is things like this hatcher. If you run at it, you're going to take a lot of damage in order to take it down, because you need to hit it many times, and it hits pretty hard and has a lot of health. But since we have the pet, it can do that for us. Banner gives us the 2 most useless stats for this character combo, so we're going to go ahead and recycle that. And then I'm going to reroll here. I could take 6 speed, but I feel like we can do better. I'll take 10 luck as well. I really want to boost my luck. We'll buy all of these. Whetstone I'm going to pass on. Although technically we can use lifesteal, we only have the 1 rat that it works with right now, so I just don't think it's that valuable. We'll take the metal plate, and we'll pick up head injury and small fish. Celery tea you should usually pass on the bull. It makes you just too vulnerable, given the amount of extra hits that you have to take to kill enemies. It's also just, like, not a great item overall. I take it more than I should because I like the value over time items, but that's, you know, an aesthetic preference rather than a strategic one. I think if you pass on celery tea every time you see it, you're going to be better off than if you take it every time you see it. Obviously, there are cases where it's still good to take, and, you know, the right answer is somewhere in the middle, but I think it is a less than 50% item. Having this Dock Moth to just give us this accelerated healing and just get back to full health is really helpful for this type of run. I'll take another Scared Sausage, Dangerous Bunny, great. More armor, of course, helps us deal damage without taking damage in return. And then crit chance is actually quite good, both for our pets and for the bull, so we'll take that. Another rat is great. Not, of course, this is one of the cases where Not is at its absolute best. 15% damage, really good when our damage is low, and of course, we can't buy weapons anyways. I'll take the bait here. Estes Couch we definitely don't want. We're going to be getting constant movement speed upgrades as we buy pets, so we'll lose all the regen and everything, so not an item that we're interested in here. We'll take the honey for sure. It's an explosion buff. We'll take the metal. I mean, I'm going to buy this whole shop. I'm deciding what order to buy it in. Given that I'm buying the whole shop, I'm just going to buy the 2 cheap items here, because that gives us the most shop rerolls effectively. So when you're deciding between a bunch of relatively equal items like this, you should usually just buy the 2 cheap ones rather than the one expensive one, because then you get to see more items. We'll take Clockwork Wasp as well, but Ritual I don't want to buy because losing Engineering is going to hurt my pets. But basically, if you have a couple items that you're looking for in the shop that you're going to buy, but you can only buy one of them for the next wave, the tiebreaker should usually be economy items or value over time items first. Obviously, things like a vigilante ring you want to take early because you'll get the maximum value out of that, and any economy item you want to take before other items, as long as it won't cost you wave clear to do so. And then the next tiebreaker should be being able to buy multiple items so that you can free up multiple shop slots and see more new items. Chameleon, I'm going to recycle. Like I said, I don't think that dodge is actually really bad on the bull, but it's not something that we're super excited about building either. We'll take the metal here for sure. I'll take a snake. We have triple Scared Sausage, so the snake is actually really good for us. And then, is it worth taking 3 elemental over 6 melee damage here? We have a lot of elemental synergies with our Scared Sausages, so this is 3 less damage for our pets and our character. But the elemental damage works with the Scared Sausage. I think it's still better to just take the melee damage, though. We'll pick up the honey. The explosion damage and explosion size, of course, are mandatory for this character. We're -1 elemental damage by buying the salt water. The attack speed is, or -1 total damage, and we lose elemental, which is better than melee. The attack speed is useless, but this does get a unique item out of the pool. It gives us a free reroll, and the move speed after taking hits I think is useful, so I will take that. I'll buy the Lucky Charm for sure. Night Goggles is a lot of crit chance, but I'm not that excited by it. I don't think we want the Glass Cannon. Losing armor is really bad. I think I'm actually just going to reroll. These are all items we could take, but I think that the only one I really want is the Lucky Charm, and there's more exciting stuff that we can find. Even this defective steroids is like quite a bit better than the items that we just passed. And obviously we're very happy to see another pet, and the metal detector will be good economy as well. Luck is incredibly valuable for this character combo, because whenever we kill enemies, we're going to be on top of them. So we want as many consumable heal drops as we can get. That's going to be one of the easiest ways for us to stay at high health all the time, is by having a lot of consumables spawning. And as you can see here, we are now in a position where we're not really worried about taking hits from enemies, which is exactly what you want on the bull. We're just gaining enough health back that we can mostly just run in with impunity. Eventually, they'll chew through our health, but if we ever get worried about it, we can just run over to our moth and heal back up for full, or dodge for a little bit and go pick up some of the consumables that have dropped elsewhere as our pets kill stuff. Yeah, I'll take the injection. We definitely need more percent damage. Another moth gives us a lot of safety. Here, I'm going to take 9 max HP. It scales the damage on our rats, and we have, what, triple rat currently? Yeah, triple rat. Let's take the Lucky Charm, Cat, and Metal Detector. I'll take Alien Tongue for a reroll. The extra pickup radius is good for healing a little faster. Ball and Chain, another item that is obviously amazing in this spot. We'll take the Insanity and the Spyglass. This is a high economy run, so I think we'll get value out of Spyglass, even though the range is useless. And Goblet and Penguin, both very useful as well. So now that we have the cat, we could actually benefit from lifesteal. It's not like a high priority pick, but it will help heal us if we get a bunch of kind of incidental lifesteal. I just ran over that tree and then was very surprised that it didn't die, even though we're playing the bull. Excuse me. I really like how the loot worm, and of course all our other kind of incidental objects on the field, mean that we don't have to pay attention to where the trees are. Normally on the bull, we would have to camp next to them, wait for enemies to approach so that we could explode and take it out. But because we have all of these effects on the map, we get to avoid that little mini game for the bull, which is always frustrating when it can make it harder to actually kill trees. We'll take Boxing Glove, it's just +1 damage. We'll take Fruit Basket for sure. More consumable heal is really good. I could take 3 ranged damage here, but honestly, if we get a level 2 melee damage, that's better. So I'm just going to reroll here, and okay, we'll take the level 3 melee damage. We'll buy all of these items. We'll buy the book as well. Again, it's a reroll. Take another book. Do I care at all about capping my max HP? No. We have 86, that's plenty, and this is such an enormous amount of damage. We're going to be very happy to buy that. Cursed Penguin is great. Cute Monkey is really good healing as well, so even though it costs us a relevant damage type, we're always going to buy it. There's another spot where we got the Cursed Stargazer there, which is a lot of damage. That is a high health enemy that hits really hard. So normally a real problem for the bull, but our rat and cat just chewed it up, so we didn't have to deal with it at all with our actual character. Once again, I'm running towards the trees out of habit. Really nice that the rats also chase down loot aliens. It makes them much easier to kill as well. I guess I'll take the bat. Like I said, we can maybe use a little bit of lifesteal, so it's fine. And I can pick up some crit chance as well. Crit chance works with our pets, and the bull's explosions can critically hit. It's not listed here, but they critically hit for 1.5 times the normal damage. So every point of crit chance we buy is basically like buying 1.25 damage when we have 250 base damage. And it will give us even more than that as we continue to level our base damage. So when we have handcuffs, for example, it's even more damage output. Let's roll here, and then Schmoop we're passing on, but I'll take a fish hook even relatively late. Hunting trophy we'll take as well, and mouse is very good also. We have decent crit chance. I mean, it's only 16%, but that's not bad. So we should be able to benefit from the hunting trophy. I'm just gonna wait until I heal up with my moth and let the cat just put a bunch of damage onto the elite before we try to fight it. And then when we're in the moth aura, we can fight it as well, because we kill it faster than it kills us as long as we're in the moth aura. So often the bull will end up running away from elite and just using your regen to survive, because trying to kill them and taking the really high damage instances that they deal, it can often be prohibitively difficult. But of course, when we have our pets and all the extra stats that we've gotten because we're playing the Beastmaster, the elite fights are very easy. Yeah, we don't care about losing attack speed. Losing crit chance is kind of painful, but I'll take 5 ranged damage anyways. We'll pick up the armor and HP, of course, and then more armor, and then we'll grab 15 luck. Even though we're at HP cap, and we're not going to go wildly out of our way to buy more health over cap is still fine because we have rats, and they scale with our maximum HP. I guess I don't really need the bone dice, even though we have the fish hook. It just won't have time to pay off. There was another case where the cursed stargazers were not a problem because our pets just took care of them. And then I came in to just get the last hit there. The League of Legends player in me. We don't really care if mini-bosses spawn. At this point, our defensive stats are so good that it just doesn't really matter to us. Because we just have such powerful defensive capabilities, especially with the moths, so if we ever do get in trouble, we have an easy way to just instantly heal back to full as well. So I'm mostly just worried about picking up as many points of curse as we can get to try to get strong cursed items before the boss fight. I'll take the Blood Leech, and then we'll pick up 3 armor. We'll grab the Poisonous Tonic. This is a way we could lose the run if we picked up the Torture here. That would vastly reduce our healing output. We'll take a Catling Gun and the Cursed Tentacle. I'll buy Propeller Hat, and we'll lock the Leather Vest as well. I would have liked to be able to reroll, because I wanted to get some fishhook value, but all of those items I think were more important. That's another way to break ties as well in the shop, if there's multiple items that you're looking for, is if you're going to be able to reroll afterwards. Which, if you just use the heuristic of always buy the cheapest thing when there's a tie, then you'll most likely be able to reroll, and that's a heuristic that will serve you very well both in this game and also in pretty much every video game, or strategy game in general. Things being cheap is very, very powerful. A constant problem in strategy game balance, actually, because things being cheap is powerful, is the mathematical fact that 2 is twice as big as 1. If you've built your strategy game around a scale where those numbers exist, it can often be very difficult to balance around, because having the first item, the first tier of item that gives you a +1 bonus to something, be half as good as the second tier of item that gives you a +2 bonus, is actually a really difficult challenge to balance in a lot of games. So you'll see when you start looking for this pattern, you'll notice it in a lot of games across like many different genres, that there's a lot of cases where developers have had to, or designers have had to go kind of out of their way to find other ways to balance around, especially things that cost 1 and 2 or provide 1 or 2 of an effect. A good example of that, for example, is Hearthstone, where basically every balance problem that has existed in that game is around the fact that a 1-cost thing was costed too low, or too many 2-cost things were costed too high. And because they couldn't give them a cost of 1.5, there was no recourse for fixing that in a game that's tightly balanced around a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah, I'll take Grind's Magical Leaf. It, of course, will only give us 1 trigger here. We're only going to get 3 HP and 1 regen and lifesteal, but for 73, that's a... Oh, I guess the HP is also kind of wasted. I think it's still worth taking, but it's obviously not exciting there. We'll also buy the Alloy. We're not building Dodge, and these are all stats that we can use. So on a character like this, Alloy is especially good. We'll take Corrupted Shard, and Metal and Fruit Basket are both really nice finds for making it a little easier to kill the bosses. But mostly we're just relying on the Cat Squad to take down the bosses, since we now have 4 of them. Making very good money every wave at this point. And, oh, Sunken Bell is kind of fun. We're almost always going to go below 40% health if we just walk into the bosses. So we're guaranteed to get a 1200 damage proc here, which is kind of nice. And I think I'll take 20 luck over 5 regeneration. I think that's more likely to come up. Then we'll buy all of these items. That's 2 more procs on our Snowball, which has actually been not bad this run. I'll take an Insanity and another Baby Elephant, and then take a free reroll. Can't afford any of that. And at this point, we're not going to be able to buy anything. The Blazemander would have been very nice. Burning for 96 damage is pretty cool. But let's go ahead and go to the boss wave. So I'm going to step in the Moth Auras and heal up, and then we can basically just fight the bosses anytime they cross our Moth Aura. Or otherwise, we can just let our cats gun them down. The rats won't aggro to them. They don't chase the bosses specifically, but they will damage them if they pass over them. So they'll still be doing some damage to the bosses. And we can use those consumables to get some heals, get back in the Moth Aura. We did get a little unlucky with where our moths spawned. None of them are overlapping, so we can't have really easy fights where we're getting triple healing. But nonetheless, double healing on 61 regeneration is more than enough. Alright, taking a look at our items here. The Bull Explosions dealt 180k damage. We only got 116 materials from the Loot Worm. That's because whenever we drop materials, we're on top of them when we're playing this character. 636 off the 2 starting coupons. Getting 2 coupons that early, obviously, is great. 830 healing from the Moths. That's amazing. And then 70k damage from the Scared Sausage, so not quite half as much again as our Bull passive, but obviously a bunch of damage on top of that. Incendiary Turret helped us clear things in the mid-game. 7 elemental damage from the Snowball. This is actually one of the higher numbers I've seen for Snowball. in a 20 wave run like this, so it was actually not bad at all. Ratzillas dealt 70k damage, so again, huge contributor there. And how about, I guess our turret dealt 5.5k, baby elephants dealt 40k, and our cats dealt 140,000. So almost as much as our bull passive that we started the game with. Obviously, they were super strong for us. We only saved 37 materials with the spyglass, so it ended up being quite terrible. It doesn't synergize very well with Dangerous Bunny, which we had as well. The fish hook gave us a couple cursed items. The hunting trophy was also not great, because we ended up reducing our crit chance a little bit after buying it. But overall, a very clean run with an extremely powerful combination. Alright, my friends, hope you enjoyed this run, and of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. It helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.